Welcome back to Regular Guys Outdoors. I'm Chris. This is Phil and I's Colorado adventure for 2017. If you watched Redneck Triple Crown from last year, you know we had a good time, and this year we're going to focus on waterfowl and prairie dogs. So I picked Phil up from the airport and we head straight out to the mountains, set up camp. Morning comes, and as soon as legal light's there, I jump some ducks.
I know you can't see me right now, but I just got two, and Phil just got one.
That was all the action that morning, so now it's breakfast time.
This morning we are eating Vinnie Bob turducken sausage with egg on some bread with some strawberry jelly.
That afternoon we tried to do some puddle jumping. We came across a small flock of teal and we both whiffed. Back at camp we had a nice muley doe visit us. Next morning, I'm out pushing the swamp, and you wouldn't believe how much water there actually was back there. It's hard to actually see how much water there is back there until you actually get down in there. If you do this, you want to stay close to the reeds because sometimes the middle can get a bit deep, and you don't want to fill your waders, that's for sure. Unfortunately, we didn't have any luck pushing anything out. Later that afternoon, Phil went out and tried to do some puddle jumping himself. You can tell it's pretty windy and we didn't have any luck. A bit later on, I went out to puddle jump the spot where Phil and I missed. And I came across a lone teal. And I was fortunate to be able to connect. However, the recovery was a little rough because I was only wearing my boots. And once I got in up over my boots, well, I just had to commit. The duck was heading toward the current, and I had to reach out with what I had, which was my shotgun. Now if you put your shotgun in the water, it's best if you go ahead and pull that choke out, oil it up, and clean your barrel back out. So now it's time for us to go ahead and move to our second spot. But first...
There's a casualty. Sometimes they just don't need to come home.
Along the way we did some sightseeing.
Pull my finger, dude.
And now that is a long way down.
Now, no one really asked the question, but everyone's usually wondering it. Where do they go to the bathroom? Well, those children who got paid 50 cents a day Alright, now what you guys have just entered is a junction.
We also ran into a herd of elk. It was a lone bull and about 30 cows. That night was one of the few nights the wind was calm enough to have a fire. Our first morning at the new spot, and we were just 50, 75 yards off. They were just flying just out of range, and so we didn't get anything. We went out that afternoon and sat and see if we could catch any traffic in the evening. I was sitting there and the wind's blowing in my face, and I heard this noise and I realized that's sounds of wings. So I look up and there's some geese. This bird you see flying off was a hawk, and it was kind of fighting with the goose I put on the ground because the goose wasn't dead yet. I'm trying to turkey shoot this goose in the head with BB shot, and there's not a whole lot of pellets in there, so I think I'm missing. So I had to cross the river and go collect it. I tried twice for a turkey headshot and it didn't work, so I just run up and grab the bird and manually dispatch it. I run back to the other bird and also manually dispatch it. That's my first 2 geese I've ever shot. We tried to do a little fishing, but as you can see all those waves from the wind, it was just really windy. We didn't catch anything, but we also didn't put a whole lot of effort into it either. That night, wind is terrible, so we're cooking on the back of the truck with the nose of the truck into the wind. While we were running around, we came across these 2 pronghorn, and it's obviously the rut time for them. We thought they were locked up, but after a few minutes when we came back by, they weren't hooked up anymore, but they were fighting for a good while we were standing there. That's going to wrap up part 1. Stick around for part 2 and give us a subscribe. We'd appreciate it.